I stood frozen in our bedroom doorway, staring at the dress laid out on our bed. Next to it, heels, jewelry, makeup, scattered across the vanity like ammunition. My wife turned to me with that look I'd learned to recognize over 8 years of marriage. "Trust me," she said, patting the chair in front of her makeup mirror. "Tonight, we write history." That night, I unraveled a truth about myself I'd buried for 32 years. And by midnight, I'd be standing in front of her friends as someone I'd never admitted I wanted to be. Let me take you back to where this really began. It was a Tuesday afternoon, unseasonably warm for October, when Sarah first brought it up. We were having coffee in the kitchen, that comfortable silence that comes with years of marriage, when she asked me something that made my heart stop. "Do you trust me with a makeup experiment?" I remember laughing it off, thinking she wanted to practice some makeup tutorial on me. Maybe she'd seen one of those videos where wives transform their husbands for fun. I told her sure, whatever she wanted. But there was something in her eyes, a knowing look that made my stomach flip in a way I couldn't quite name. Over the next few days, she kept dropping these little hints about wanting to include me more in her life. Sarah's Ladies' Night had become this sacred monthly tradition over the past year. 6 women, sometimes 8, gathering in our living room with wine and laughter that echoed through the house. I'd always excused myself to the garage or caught up on work in my office, giving them their space. I assumed when she said she wanted to include me, she meant maybe I could cook for them, set up drinks, be the helpful husband in the background. I was so incredibly wrong. The afternoon she revealed what she actually meant, I came home from work to find her sitting on our bed with shopping bags surrounding her like some sort of feminine fortress. My first thought was that she'd gone on a shopping spree. Then she started pulling things out, and my breath caught in my throat. A light pastel pink short-sleeve crop top, fitted and smooth. A high-waisted pink pleated miniskirt that would flare softly at the hips. Sheer, pale pink tights. And the shoes. God, the shoes. Pink high-heeled pumps with a peep-toe design, slim stiletto heels with this delicate mesh texture that wrapped around the foot and ankle. Everything was pink, coordinated, intentional. "Sarah, what?" "For you," she said simply, "for Friday night." My stomach dropped and soared simultaneously, like missing a step on a staircase. I felt dizzy, exposed, terrified, exhilarated. Every emotion I'd ever pushed down came flooding back in that single moment. Because here's what I'd never told my wife. Here's what I'd never told anyone. When I was 7 years old, I used to steal moments alone with my mother's scarves. I'd lock myself in the bathroom and drape them around my shoulders, feeling the silk cascade down my back, pretending I had long hair. I'd study myself in the mirror, turning this way and that, imagining something I didn't have words for yet. In high school, I volunteered for the theater costume crew. Everyone thought I was being helpful, supportive of the arts. The truth? I just wanted an excuse to touch the fabrics, to hold the dresses, to imagine what it would feel like to wear them under stage lights, instead of just hanging them on racks. My junior year of college, my roommate almost caught me once. I'd borrowed a shirt from the lost and found something feminine, flowing. I was standing in front of our dorm mirror at 2 in the morning when I heard his key in the lock. I'd never moved so fast in my life, shoving the shirt under my mattress, diving into bed. He was too drunk to notice anything, but I never tried again. For years after that, I pushed it all down, convinced myself it was just curiosity, a phase, something that would go away if I ignored it hard enough. Meeting Sarah felt like a fresh start, a chance to be normal, to be the man I thought I was supposed to be. But Sarah is observant in ways I never gave her credit for. 6 months before that Tuesday conversation, she'd caught me at a department store. We were shopping for her birthday, and I'd stopped at a display of summer dresses, my fingers lingering on the fabric. She watched me comment on the colors, the cut, the way the light caught the material. She didn't say anything then, but I remember the look on her face, like she'd just solved a puzzle she'd been working on. Later, she told me the truth. She'd known something was there for at least 3 years. Little signs I thought I'd hidden perfectly. The way my eyes followed women's fashion instead of women themselves, how I knew fabric names and style trends, how I'd unconsciously mirror feminine gestures when I thought no one was watching. That afternoon, sitting on her bed surrounded by pink, she made her confession. And then came her proposal. One night. Full transformation. Her friends as the audience, though they wouldn't know what they were really seeing. A safe space for me to explore what I'd been running from my entire life. My panic at being truly seen warred with something else. Something that felt dangerously close to relief. As her hands guided me to sit at the vanity that Friday evening, my heart hammered so hard I could hear it. Sarah picked up a foundation brush, and I caught my reflection in the mirror. Still me, still masculine, still safe. "Last chance to back out," she teased. I looked at her reflection standing behind me, and for the first time in our marriage, I told her the complete truth. I've been waiting my whole life for someone to give me this permission. Her smile told me everything I needed to know. What I didn't know was that her friends weren't expecting their usual drinks and gossip tonight. They were expecting someone Sarah had been telling them about. Someone named Emma. They were expecting the pink lady Sarah had spoken so highly of, though I didn't know any of this yet. Sarah's first touch was gentle. So gentle it almost brought me to tears before we'd even started. She held my chin, tilting my face toward the vanity lights, studying me like an artist approaches a canvas. "We'll start with skincare," she said softly. "Clean canvas." Then came moisturizer, patted in with her fingertips. Each touch felt like acceptance. Each stroke felt like permission. I watched her squeeze a pearl-sized amount onto her fingers, then felt the cool gel spread across my face. She worked it in with small circular motions, and I found myself closing my eyes, letting myself feel it. Really feel it. The foundation came next. She was teaching me. This wasn't just a one-time thing for her. She was giving me tools, vocabulary, knowledge. My throat tightened. I felt her work along my cheekbones, down the sides of my nose, along my jawline. She was sculpting me, reshaping me, and every brushstroke felt like she was uncovering something. "Open your eyes," she whispered. I did. The face looking back at me in the mirror was softer, more delicate. The harsh angles I'd lived with for 32 years had been gently reshaped into something that made my chest ache. I looked like a damsel. An exquisite damsel, Sarah would later say. But we weren't done. "Eyebrows," she said, picking up a pencil. She'd chosen soft pinks and champagnes, colors that matched the outfit waiting on the bed. I felt the brush sweep across my eyelids, felt her building layers, creating depth. She used her finger to press shimmer onto my inner corners, making my eyes brighter. Then came lipstick, a rosy pink that she applied with a brush, blotting, applying again. Finally, gloss in the center for dimension. "Look at yourself," she said, stepping back. I turned to the mirror fully, and this time I didn't just glance, I stared. The woman looking back at me had soft, glowing skin, defined cheekbones, eyes that sparkled with champagne shimmer and lifted with that perfect wing, rosy cheeks, full, glossy pink lips. She was beautiful. She was feminine. She was everything I'd never let myself be. She was me. The woman standing there wore a perfect pink outfit. Her makeup was flawless. Her hair framed her face beautifully. She looked nervous and excited. I didn't recognize her, except I did. I'd been hiding her for decades. "What do you want to be called tonight?" Sarah asked softly. The moment she asked, it came instantly, like it had been waiting in my mouth for years. "Emma." The name fell from my lips like unlocking a door I'd kept bolted shut. Emma. I'd had it ready without knowing I'd been storing it somewhere deep inside. "Hello, Emma?" she whispered. The doorbell rang at exactly 8 o'clock. Through the bedroom window, I could see cars lining our driveway, not just Sarah's usual 3 friends, but at least 6 vehicles. My newly softened voice came out higher, more uncertain than I expected. "Sarah, how many people are coming?" She bit her lip. "I may have invited the whole book club. And my sister. And my cousin Rachel." My knees buckled in the heels I was still learning to walk in. "You invited 12 women to watch me." "To meet Emma," she corrected firmly. The doorbell rang again. Sarah grabbed my hand, her grip strong and sure. "They're here to support you. They want to meet her." I heard laughter from downstairs. Real, warm, welcoming. Or was it? My mind spun with possibilities. Were they laughing in anticipation of the spectacle? Would they mock me? Record me? Tell everyone they knew about Sarah's husband who dressed up like a woman? Real. I had 30 seconds to decide if I was brave enough to walk down those stairs. Each stair-step felt like walking a tightrope over a canyon. My heels clicked against the hardwood, announcing my descent. Sarah walked beside me, her hand still gripping mine, but I could feel her letting me set the pace. Letting this be my choice. The voices from the living room went silent as I appeared in the doorway. 12 women turned to look at me. Time stopped. Those 3 seconds stretched into eternity. I saw every face, every expression. Some surprised. Some knowing. Some smiling. I waited for the laughter to turn cruel, for someone to point, for the illusion to shatter. Then Sarah's friend Monica started clapping. Slow at first, then faster. And one by one, like dominoes falling in reverse, they all joined in. The room filled with applause. Genuine, enthusiastic applause. Not mocking, not sarcastic. Celebratory. I stood there in my pink outfit, my carefully applied makeup, my borrowed heels, and I was being celebrated. Monica stood up and walked over to me, her smile warm and real. "Emma," she said, like she'd known my name her whole life, "we're so glad you could join us tonight." The tears threatened again, but I blinked them back. The room had been transformed since I'd last seen it that morning. They'd set up the living room like a welcome party. There was a banner, an actual banner, that read, "Ladies' Night" in elegant script. Name tags sat on the coffee table next to drinks and snacks, arranged like an event. One by one, the women introduced themselves to Emma. Not to Sarah's husband in a dress, to Emma. They used my name naturally, easily, like it had always belonged to me. "I'm Jessica. I love your outfit. That pink is absolutely your color." "I'm Diane. Those shoes are gorgeous. Where did you get them?" "I'm Patricia. Sarah's told us so much about you." That last one made me glance at Sarah, but she just smiled mysteriously. They asked me questions. Real questions. Genuine interest. How did I feel? Was the makeup comfortable? Did I love the way the skirt moved when I walked? They wanted to know about me, about Emma, about this person I was discovering I'd always been. I found myself relaxing, sinking into the couch between Monica and Sarah's sister Jennifer. Someone handed me a glass of wine, pink, naturally, and I sipped it while listening to them talk about everything from book recommendations to workplace drama to family gossip. The conversation flowed around me, sometimes including me, sometimes just letting me observe. These women talked about their lives, their struggles, their triumphs. They asked my opinion on things, treated me like I'd always been part of this group. And slowly, the terror that had gripped my chest since walking down the stairs began to loosen. This was real. This acceptance was real. Emma was real. 2 hours into the evening, after most of the wine had been consumed and the conversation had grown more intimate, Sarah's cousin Rachel got serious. The room had naturally quieted, everyone sensing a shift in energy. Rachel looked at me directly. "Can I ask you something?" I nodded, my throat tight. "Is this a one-time thing?" she asked gently. "Or is this something more?" The room went completely silent. Every eye was on me. It was the question I'd been asking myself all night. The question I'd been asking myself my whole life. Really? Was Emma just a costume I was wearing? Just an experiment? Just a single magical evening I'd look back on with bittersweet nostalgia? Or was she something more? Sarah squeezed my hand, giving me permission to answer honestly, permission to speak my truth, whatever it was, even if it was messy and uncertain and terrifying. I took a breath. "I don't think Emma is a costume I'm wearing." The words hung in the air, fragile and powerful. "I think Emma is who I've been afraid to be." Saying it out loud changed something fundamental. It wasn't just a thought anymore, not just a feeling I could push away when the night ended. It was a declaration, a truth, a commitment to something I didn't fully understand yet but knew was real. No one spoke for a long moment. Then Monica raised her wine glass. "To Emma," she said simply. "To Emma," they all echoed, raising their glasses. And I smiled with happy tears this time, grateful tears, while 12 women who'd been strangers to Emma just hours ago welcomed her into existence. Around 10:30, Sarah excused us and led me back upstairs to our bedroom. Her silence terrified me more than any words could have. We'd been married 8 years. I'd just told a room full of people something I'd never explicitly told my wife, that Emma wasn't temporary, that she might be permanent, that everything about our life might need to change. "Sarah, She held up her hand, cutting me off. From her nightstand drawer, she pulled out a folder I'd never seen before. My hands shook as she handed it to me. Inside were printouts. Articles about gender identity, gender expression, the difference between the two. Information about therapists who specialized in gender issues. A list of support groups, both online and local. Contact information. Even research about hormone replacement therapy and what it entailed. "I've been researching for 6 months, she said quietly, watching me flip through page after page. My vision blurred. You knew?" "I knew before tonight what you might discover," she confirmed. "I saw you, even when you were trying so hard to hide. I couldn't speak, couldn't process the level of love and preparation this represented. She'd known, she'd researched, she'd planned this entire evening not as a fun experiment, but as a carefully constructed safe space for me to finally admit what she'd already figured out. Are you?" I finally managed, my voice breaking. "Are you angry I didn't tell you sooner?" Her answer would determine everything about my future, everything about Emma's future, everything about us. Sarah sat down beside me on the bed, taking both my hands in hers. The folder of research lay open between us like a bridge to a future I'd never let myself imagine. "Angry?" she repeated softly. "No, I'm not angry." Relief started to flood through me, but she wasn't done. "I'm relieved," she continued. relieved that you finally said it. Because watching you pretend to be someone you weren't, that was painful. For both of us, I think. She reached up and gently tucked a strand of my pink wig behind my ear, her touch tender. I fell in love with your authentic self, she said, even when you were hiding it. I fell in love with the person who noticed beautiful things, who understood colors and textures and aesthetics in a way most men don't. Who had this gentleness, this softness that you kept trying to bury under masculine performance? She continued. Tonight wasn't spontaneous, she admitted. The ladies, night, the women I invited, it was all planned. I chose every single woman in that room specifically. Monica, because of her brother. Rachel, because she's the most open-minded person I know. Jennifer, because she's family and I knew she'd be supportive. Every single woman downstairs was briefed about what might happen tonight. They didn't know exactly who Emma was, but they knew someone important was going to be introduced. Someone who needed acceptance and celebration. I stared at her, overwhelmed. You planned all of this? I love you, she said simply, and I wanted to give you a safe space to explore who you might be. Not in secret, not in shame, but surrounded by people who would celebrate you. She stood up and grabbed makeup remover wipes from the bathroom, then came back and gently started cleaning my face, wiping away the smudged mascara and tear-stained foundation. Now, she said, as carefully as she'd applied the makeup hours ago, comes the harder question. What do you want to do next? She set aside the makeup wipes and took my hands again. What is true right now is that you felt alive tonight in a way I've never seen before. What is true is that calling yourself Emma felt right. What is true is that wearing that pink outfit made you happy. Those are the facts we have. Everything else is speculation. I looked at the sundress, then at myself in the mirror, still wearing the pink outfit that had changed everything. What do I want to do next? I repeated. And suddenly, I knew. I want to go back downstairs, I said. I want to finish the evening. I want to be Emma for as long as this night lasts. Sarah smiled. That brilliant, knowing smile that I'd fallen in love with 8 years ago. Then that's what we'll do. At 11:47 p.m., after the last guest had left and Sarah was in the shower, I stood alone in our living room, still wearing the pink dress. The house was quiet except for the sound of water running upstairs. Then my phone buzzed on the coffee table. A text from my mother. Coming by tomorrow morning with breakfast. See you at 9. My stomach dropped. My mother, who had a key to our house, who never called first, who always just showed up with bagels and orange juice and maternal enthusiasm. In 11 hours, she'd walk through that door expecting her son. I looked at the makeup remover Sarah had left on the coffee table before heading upstairs. The smart move was obvious. Take off the dress, remove the wig, wipe away any trace of Emma before I went to bed, make tomorrow easier, make confronting my mother easier. Go back to being the person she expected, the son she knew. My hand hovered over the bottle of makeup remover. Then I walked past it. That night, I took off the jewelry, the outfit, changed into a nightgown Sarah had laid out for me, but I left the makeup on. Faded, slightly smudged, but still there. The next morning, I woke up to the morning light streaming through our bedroom window and mascara-stained sheets. Sarah was already awake, watching me with soft eyes. "Good morning, Emma," she whispered. And just like that, yesterday became today. Emma wasn't just a one-night exploration. She was here, in the morning light, without the protection of carefully selected supportive women or wine-softened courage. We got up together. Sarah looked at my face, at the smudged makeup that had survived the night. I went to her closet and pulled out a casual sundress, soft blue with small white flowers. Nothing as dramatic as the pink outfit from last night, but unmistakably feminine. I put it on. Sarah helped me with the zipper, adjusted the straps, stepped back to look at me. "Beautiful," she said simply. We made breakfast together, me in the sundress and heels, lower heels this time, more practical. Sarah in her weekend jeans and t-shirt. The domesticity of it felt revolutionary. At 8:45, Sarah squeezed my hand in preparation for what to come next. I looked down at the sundress, at my painted nails holding a coffee mug, at the woman I could see reflected in the kitchen window. "I don't want to change," I said. The key turned in the lock at exactly 9 a.m. My mother's cheerful voice called out from the entryway. "Hello, I brought everything bagels and that cream cheese you like." I heard her footsteps coming toward the kitchen, heard her humming something under her breath. Sarah moved beside me, taking my hand, united front. My mother walked into the kitchen carrying a bag from our local bagel shop, her smile bright and expectant. Her eyes found me. Then the bag hit the floor. Everything bagels rolled across the tile. Cream cheese containers clattered. My mother stood frozen in the doorway, her face cycling through confusion. shock, recognition, and something I couldn't quite name. "What is happening here?" she finally managed. I'd played this moment in my head 1,000 times since last night. I'd imagined every possible reaction, every potential outcome. But standing there in reality, with my mother staring at me in a sundress and makeup, I found that all my rehearsed speeches evaporated. Sarah squeezed my hand, reminding me she was there, reminding me I wasn't alone. I took a breath. "Mom, I need to tell you something." My mother looked from me to Sarah and back again. She was processing, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. Her son, except I didn't look like her son anymore. I looked like someone she'd never met. "This is Emma," Sarah said when my voice failed. "This is who your child has always been." The words hung in our kitchen. My mother's mouth opened, closed, opened again. She looked at me, really looked at me, and I saw 32 years of memories flickering across her face. Every moment I'd been her son, every birthday, every graduation, every milestone. "I don't understand," she whispered. "I know," I said, finding my voice. "I'm still figuring it out myself." But last night, Sarah gave me permission to explore something I've been hiding my whole life. "And I can't hide anymore, Mom. I can't pretend to be someone I'm not." She sank into one of our kitchen chairs, her eyes never leaving me. "How long have you—" she trailed off, not even sure what question to ask. "Always," I admitted. "I felt this way always. I just never had the courage to admit it. Even to myself." Sarah gave us space but stayed close. I told my mother about the scarves, about the theater, about every hidden moment of my life. I watched her struggle, watched her try to reconcile the person she thought she knew with the person standing in front of her in a sundress. It wasn't easy. She didn't immediately hug me and say everything was fine. She had questions. So many questions. Some of them hurt, some of them came from fear, but she stayed. She sat at our kitchen table and she tried to understand. When she finally left, 3 hours later, she didn't have all the answers. Neither did I. But she hugged me, a long, tight hug, and whispered, "I need time. But I love you. That doesn't change." It was enough. For now, it was enough. 3 months have passed since that ladies' night. But that night didn't end when the guests left. The pink dress hangs in my side of the closet now, alongside 30 others. Sundresses and skirts and blouses in every color. I've been in therapy twice a week, working through decades of repression with a therapist who specializes in gender identity. I attend a support group every Thursday evening, a room full of people like me, exploring who they are, who they've always been. My mother? It took her 6 weeks, but she finally showed up, offered support, and accepted me for who I am. Sometimes I think about who I was before that night, the person who hid, who pretended, who spent 32 years trying to figure out something that has always resonated inside of me. I know there will be harder days ahead. I know the world isn't as safe as Sarah's carefully curated ladies' night. I know I'll face discrimination, judgment, maybe even danger. But I also know I can't go back. I won't go back. Because my wife didn't just doll me up for ladies' night. She gave me permission to finally come home to myself. And that's a gift I'll spend the rest of my life being grateful for. Emma is real. Emma has always been real. And now, finally, Emma gets to live. If someone had given you permission earlier in life, who might you be today?
The Gender Diary exists to light that path with shared stories. Whether you found connection in this narrative, you're on your own journey of gender exploration, or you're here seeking understanding, your subscription fuels our mission. Every subscriber empowers us to keep illuminating these authentic experiences for our community. Kindly drop a comment below. Your voice adds to the tapestry of experiences that makes this space meaningful. Until our next story unfolds.